Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to go over the next part of the test 1 practice questions, part 1C, which is going to be about for loops and ranges. Okay, so in this part of the test, you have to run a for loop, and possibly that's going to be a for loop over a range. And then there's going to be a print command inside of the for loop, and so you have to say what's going to print out each time. So I think I'll make a little like text box down here to put the printout information. Okay. Right. So let me see, does this, oh yeah, it does do it as like it renders it over here as like a code block if I tab in. Okay. So what's going to happen here is first we need to figure out what range 6 is. So you need to be aware that if you put one number inside the range like this, your range is basically, it's the same as a list that starts at 0. And then it goes up to 1 less than that number. Okay, so this is going to be the numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so remember what happens with the for loop is the loop variable first time it runs is assigned to be the first value over here. So first n is going to be assigned the value 0. And then we're going to do this print command with that value for n. So this is going to print out 2 times 0 is 2 times whatever 2 times 0 is, which is, so Python's going to actually do that multiplication there. So that's going to be 0. Okay, so this is going to print out 2 times space 0 space is space, and then whatever 2 times 0 is, Python's going to calculate that, which is 0. All right. Now, once that's done, Python's going to come back up here. It's going to assign the loop variable to be the second value in the list or in the range, which is 1. So now n is going to be 1. And we're going to come back down here, do this print command again. Now it's going to be 2 times 1 is, and then Python's going to calculate whatever 2 times 1 is, which is 2. Okay, so this is going to say 2 times space 1 space is space, and then whatever 2 times 1 is, which is 2. All right, and then you got the idea, right? So basically just keep going like this through all the values in this range here, and then 5 will be the very last one. Okay, so you could even just like, if you're on a computer, of course, you can just like copy these and just change the n value. Okay, so what is 2 times 2 is 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, so hopefully you can figure that out pretty quickly. And you see here, that is indeed what we got. All right, so let's do the next one. So now our range here is a little bit more complicated. So if you have 2 numbers in a range, you're always going to start at the first number and you're going to stop before the second number. So you never go all the way to the second number, you stop before it. Either 1 before it, or if you have a third command here, you know, you're stepping up by that amount each time. So you might stop more than 1 before 35. So first let's figure out what this range is. So range 3, 35. So this would be like some scratch work you would want to put on your test, writing out the values of the range so you make sure you know what they are. So we're going to start at 3, and we're going to go up by 6s. Okay, so it's going to be 3 plus 6, that'll be 9, 9 plus 6, 15, 15 plus 6 is 21, and then plus 6, 27, plus 6, 33. Now you see if we go to the next one, which should be 39, then we went too far. So we have to stop before 35. That means, oops, didn't mean to do that. That means 33 is going to be the last entry in the range. Okay, so we have these 6 entries in our range. And then we're going to go through one by one. N is going to start off first, n is going to be 3. Then the next time the loop runs, n is going to be 9. The next time the loop runs, n is going to be 15, so on and so forth. And then for each value of n, we're just going to run this one line of code that's in the loop. So n is 3 times, and then make sure you understand here the double slash is integer division. So you're answering with that integer quotient that you get from long division. So in other words, you're asking yourself, how many times does 3 go into this number? So these are all actually divisible by 3. So it's just going to give the regular division by 3 answer, but it'll come out as an integer and not as a float. Okay. So for the first one, the first value of n is going to be 3. And then we have space is 3 times space, and then 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, the next one we're going to do 9 for n, and then we have is 3 times, and then what is 9 double slash 3? That's 3. Okay, and we're just gonna go through all of these like this 3 times. And what is 15 /3? It's 5. Next one, 21 is 3 times. What is 21 /3? I think it's 7. And the next one, next value for n is 27, so 27 is 3 times. And then what is 27 /3? I think it's 9. And then lastly, 33 is 3 times. 33 /3 is going to be 11. Okay. All right, so we can go ahead and run that and make sure. Yep. Oh, why did it come out? Oops. Why did it come out weird here? Do I need another? The needing of like paragraphs is kind of weird to me in Jupyter Notebooks. Oh well, someday I'll figure out how this program works. All right, so for the next one, this one is probably the hardest one because we actually have 2 loops. So it's loop and loop. But there's no ranges, so in that sense, it's like not too bad. At least we don't have to figure out the ranges. So you have to be very careful with what's going to go on here. So the outer loop is going to run 3 times. The first time the outer loop runs, x is going to be assigned the value 1. The next time the outer loop runs, x is going to be assigned the value 2. And then the last time the outer loop runs, x is going to be assigned the value 3. And then what happens when that outer loop runs is this inner loop runs. Okay? So this inner loop has to start running and go through all of its iterations and then come to the end before we go to the next value of x. Okay? So these x values persist for longer. Like y is changing values while x is staying the same, basically. Okay, so x is going to stay at 1 while y goes through all 3 of these values here. And then x is going to stay at 2 while y again goes through all 3 of these values here. And then x is going to stay at 3 while y again goes through all 3 of these values here. Okay, so we're just printing out x comma y. So like x and then a space and then y in each case. And then the same deal is happening here for the values that are being assigned to y. First y is the string a, and then y is the string b, and then y is the string c, and each time we're just doing this one print command. All right, so hopefully you guys get how this works. We can just go ahead and write down the answers. So first x is going to be assigned to be 1, and y is going to be assigned to be a, and we're going to print out xy, so that's just going to look like 1a. Okay, and then what's going to happen next is we still have to go through this whole loop here, the y loop, before we can go to the next value of x. Okay, so x is going to stay at 1, but y is now going to become b for the second time that inner loop runs. And then for the last time the inner loop runs, x is going to still be 1, but y is going to be c. Okay, and so now at that point, the inner loop has finished running, so the outer loop can then repeat and go to the next value of x. Okay, and then what happens is it's just the same as before. Y goes through this 3 values. And then finally, for the last running of the outer loop, y again goes through the 3 values, and that's it. So you can check and make sure that is actually what happens. All right, for the last one here, we are doing a loop through a string, which is a little bit different from these last ones. So when you do a loop through a string, so for y in, and then you have a string, y is going to be assigned to be each character in that string one at a time. So the first time the loop runs, y is assigned to be the capital C string. The next time the loop runs, y is going to be the capital S string. The next time the loop runs, y is the capital C again. And then the last time the loop runs, y is the capital I. Okay, and so each time we're just printing out 4 times that letter, meaning 4 copies of that letter. Okay, so it's going to look like this. First time y is going to be the capital C. 4 times capital C is CCCC. Okay, and the next time it runs, y is the capital S. 4 times capital S is SSSS. All right, and then it just continues like that. Okay, so we're just printing out 4 copies of each letter, like this. And that's it. So I will resume with the next part in the next video.